Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning. What's going on? What's going on? Street trading here with another watch list video for you all. So let's get into it. Let's talk about yesterday real quick. Market reached all-time highs. SPY ETF actually cracked the all-time high as well. Obviously, trading in the 303s, had a little bit of a, what about just north of a point and a half to the upside close, traded strongly after hours as well, dipping down pre-market, but still in the 303s, actually 302 right now as we're making this video, continue to fade up, pushing lower. That being said, who knows if the party's over or not, but you obviously had a lot of chasers yesterday pushing up, not wanting to kind of miss out on this bull run that we are seeing in the markets, which is a good sign, obviously. But obviously what goes up must come down. Not that we're going to be bearish, but definitely not going to just hop on the bandwagon just because everything's pushing higher. So, I mean, there's opportunities in both to the upside and to the downside. Obviously, you always want to continue with the trend, because at the end of the day, the momentum will take your stock where you need to go, where you can extract as much as possible and get the fuck out. So, sector-wise, they closed, 7-4 bull split. IT took top spot. Utilities took the bottom spot. Actually, bell to bell, both sectors, both IT and utilities held those positions from bell to bell. We're going to stick with our go-tos today. And to kind of just get into it, we got 7 going on our watch list. We're going to kick it off with CRM, Salesforce.com. They're at the top of the channel. The wedge they've been trading in since May. And, hitting that 200-day moving average to the upside, obviously to the top side of the channel as well. So obviously, it's a very common area. Obviously, a lot of eyes on this area for, everybody waiting for this breakout. I'm not sure it's going to happen right now. We think it's going to pull back and going to continue down to the downside of this channel, but not going to hop in just because it's at this channel. We're going to let it obviously prove itself first. And if it's going to peak above, let it peak above, but it needs to definitely prove itself before we're going to push higher. But I think we think it's going to be pushing lower. I think we're going to start to mitigate to the south side, so we're going to be bearish for CRM. However, the market needs to dictate trend first. Next up, we got Facebook. Facebook, as you can see, in a bullish pattern. We have a 193 price target. It's trading at the 189 right now. After hours, you see the action. Pre-market, you see the action. But we do like the technical pattern for Facebook. Obviously, if Zuckerberg's getting hit, obviously in Washington as far as Libra is concerned, but nonetheless, definitely see this thing pushing higher. Technically, it looks nice. We're going to be bullish for Facebook for today's session. Microsoft had a nice day yesterday. Closed up just shy of 3.5 points. Pretty much just traded sideways after the gap up. You lived pretty much below VWAP, and obviously had some action after hours as well, as you can see. But not sure, what this thing's going to do. If this, then that. That's pretty much what we're looking at today. Not sure it's going to fade out. I'm not sure. I don't think it's just going to fade out. Probably just going to hang around. Maybe going to take a point or two. But that being said, we are going to be bearish on MSFT, but it needs to crack these lows. So we're going to be obviously patient with it. But again, all eyes are on Microsoft obviously after yesterday's run. So we're going to see how it's going to handle the particular action it saw yesterday. Next up, we got Roku. Roku had a serious day yesterday, 13 points to the upside. Just pushed higher. Technically, it still has some room to go. Obviously, all eyes are on these levels, so don't get caught in with the rest of the herd. You wait for obviously proof from the street that price is going to be pushing higher. So just wait, be patient with it. Trade off some crystal clear levels and risk to the upside when and if the opportunity arises. Next up, we got Spotify. They had a pretty solid day yesterday as well, closing just north of 19.5 points to the upside, right over the 200-day moving average. Thought it was going to fade out, obviously, in the morning, as you can see, and then VWAP just held it. Usually when prices trade around VWAP this long, usually breaks, if it's trading above, usually breaks through to the downside, but it did not. So that was a pretty strong move. Obviously, as you can see, big picture. That pretty much resistance level was the support from its IPO low in 2018. So support becomes resistance, resistance becomes support. So it's a good area to risk off of to the upside if it pulls back to this level and it holds once again. If it does, then definitely going to push higher. Next up, we got Tesla TSLA. So obviously, they had that run on 24th, pushed up to what 340. What was the all-time high after this run? Yeah, 340.84. Had a down day, slight down day, just shy of half a point to the downside, pushing lower as well pre-market. So we see some maybe profit taking happening right now. So overall, we're gonna be bearish, but we're gonna obviously have to prove that any time it gets to VWAP needs to be stuffed out. So we don't want it to live around VWAP at all. We want to touch it and fade out. So that's what we're looking for today's trading session. We're gonna wrap it up with the trade desk TTD. They had a nice run yesterday, closing just shy of 7.5 points to the upside. They had a pretty strong, let's say, nice run of the day, but it closed pretty strong. Weak actually. It sold off quite hard into the bell after hours as well, pre-market. And you also, obviously, as you can see, you have the 50-day moving average above and the 200-day right there as well. So it needs to really push above to sustain these levels, but we think it's going to be pushing, fading out lower. We think trade desk is going to be a bearish trade for us today. Again, after the dust settles around the 10 o'clock a.m. time, we think this thing's going to fade out. So we're looking at it to the downside today. So as always, guys, any questions, reach out to us. These are the 7 we got for our go-to list today. Be patient with price, be patient with setups. If you're wrong, cut your losses very, very quickly. Conserve your capital. Reevaluate your original trade thesis. If you're right, hop back in. If not, just wait. All right, guys, any questions, reach out. Have a good one.